Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live session. Today is June 29th, 2020, and we're back at it again. Hope you guys had a splendid weekend. It was really good weather here in Canada, and definitely a good weekend. For me, I'm ready for the charts. I hope you guys are ready. So, in today's session, we'll be going over a rough overlook of the markets and kind of determining a bias for some of the pairs. Last Friday, we already did this, and we have a few setups that we kind of have ready to go sooner rather than later. One being GU, but before we start to that, just one quick announcement. I made this announcement on Friday, but we will be changing our pricing structure come July, and July is going to be here in just a few days. So if you're an old member or you're looking to join and you want to get grandfathered into our old pricing structure, make sure you email support@forexlens.com, and they'll make sure that happens. Again, prices will be increasing a bit, but again, we're always improving our service, and that just comes with the territory. So if you want to get the current pricing you're in secured and locked, make sure you email support@forexlens. And if you're not a member, join now or maybe tomorrow, as soon as you can, so you can get in that anyways. So GU, we talked about GU last week, and we had high hopes for it. We just never really got a clean entry for this trade. All the way from up here, we wanted to short, and then we had the confirmation candle, but it was already well on its way to our final target region. So come Friday, during Friday's session, we finally broke this level, but we don't trade Fridays. So what we had was basically if price can pull back and then show us another bearish kind of closure, we can enter short. And then Sunday we had a nice inverted hammer 4-hour candle right here. And then the rest is history. This thing went to our projected final target. So I don't trade Sundays, and not even going into Monday. I like to kind of trade later in the Monday. That's when my trading day starts. So if you look to the left, you can see we've hit our first kind of target zone. We chose this area because it's been a previous support, as well as quite recently a wick went out of its way to tap this level. And this level is 1.22600. Now for us, we're going to have to wait for this level to get breached on the 4-hour time frame to take the short down to these peak corona lows at during the first wave, and hopefully there is no other wave, but this is the next target area. The lows are at 1.21700. So if you look at price action and we look to the left, you can see anytime we've broken this level, price does rebound at this specific price point, somewhere around 1.22340, right? And if you look to the left, you can kind of see that happen in the past as well. So this is a level we'll be looking at. If we do get a break of this level, we'll be targeting this level as a TP1, just to make sure we don't get stuck in any deep retraces like this one, or any full-on reversals like this one. So that's the rough idea for this week for GU. Some of the majors are getting their butt kicked by the dollar this morning, more towards the EU and GUs. But this week we do have some fundamentals which we'll go over. So I think we'll get the break of this level, and then we should at the very minimum get 1.22340 out of the way. I don't know if we're able to push all the way down. Again, it's NFP week this week, so depending on the numbers, a lot can happen. We could either get a reversal, or you just get a huge meltdown to these lows that we made back in March. So that's that for GU. Again, Sundays I don't trade them, so this thing played out on Sunday going into Monday. For those that did, then you probably got it. But for us, we're gonna be looking for stuff entering now, and so GU short bias continuation. If you just want a kind of a mock-up idea. And while I go through this stuff, just send me your pair recommendations. If you're on YouTube, make sure you join our Discord. It's absolutely free. The link to sign up is in the description of the video. If you're already on Discord, you can send it in community discussions or use a requested TA. Okay, we already have some in there, so either or is fine. As long as it's in one central place, that's fine. Let's go for the mock-up idea. So something like this, our stop loss will be pretty dang tight right there. And then this is the potential idea for the week, right? So here we have it. Here we have the first target around 29-30 pips. Obviously, that's usually our first target anyways. And then we can target maybe this wick point right here. You can see huge long wicks in and around this level at 1.22 thousand, a nice psychological level. So TP1's 30, TP2's 30 pips, and we can have TP3 that's roughly around 45 to 50 pips. So that's a nice trade idea right here, a nice simple basic analysis, and that's what we'll have. So I'll remove this line just because we don't need it right now, but here's our stop loss. Our stop loss is 20 pips, so that's not bad. A 20 pip stop loss. And a 3.45 R2R. So that's our first setup of the week, potential. And then EU. So last week we shorted EU. Depending on your management, you either got 28 to 100 pips. You can see here's the full idea. On the Monday, we had a lot of support here. On Friday, we had a lot of support created, so price pushed up. This is one of the reasons why I called it long for Aussie dollar, because it also created a lot of support with a lot of hammers. And so I'm like, okay, this is going to be a long. EU turned into a long, and then you can see it rejected this morning this intraday level right at 112.750, 112.750, a nice level. So you can see price surge back down, but before our closure right now, it's a bearish hammer, and so I'd definitely be careful about going short on this candle. Again, the best bet would probably be waiting for this support we just hit last week, 1.12 thousand. If you can crush 1.12 thousand, then the shorts will continue to just sell off and it'll be a complete meltdown. But as long as we stay up in and around this range and above the support, the long is always a factor and always a possibility. So 1.1270 is the level we'll be eyeing. If price breaks above once again, we'll have to look for longs, right? So if price pulls back up again here, we'll have to take a long back to 1.13500. A nice 50, 60 pips upside maybe, depending on entry. So that's what I'll be looking at, the level. I'll remove the short idea for now, but so this 4-hour candle will probably stay here. I think the next one will determine where we'll go. So either can drop down like this, or either can flick up like that. It just depends on its mood. Let's take a look at the forecast for NFP week. So this Monday, it's a European bank holiday. Keep that in mind. We have Chinese manufacturing later in the day. Pending home sales for the dollar came out better than expected. Okay, that may be a reason why the dollar gained some strength. If you recall, last week we had home sales and it was terrible. So this result may be good. Perfect. And then we have Tuesday, some CAD GDP, and then Chicago PMI and USD consumer confidence. So a lot of stuff. It's a pretty news-filled week actually. Then we have Powell speaking. So we're in for a good ride this week. It will definitely be exciting. That's for sure. So let's look at the forecast for the consumer confidence. 90.1. That's actually pretty good compared to the previous 86.6. Chicago PMI also get better than the previous month, 42. So we could be looking at a bullish dollar. Let's see, Wednesday, ADP. ADP is looking to be adding 3 million jobs. Okay, that's interesting. So in the past, we've had a loss of 2.76 million jobs. Now we're looking to maybe add 3 million. That's definitely good. Also, guys, Wednesday is Canada Day. It's a Canadian bank holiday. It's a statutory holiday for us. So there will be no live session, just FYI. I also know that you guys have 4th of July for the States on Friday. So that's also a keynote to take in mind. But again, we're looking at a bullish dollar. That's pretty good. The dollar may come into 4th of July banging, with some bulls. That'd be pretty nice. So Thursday. Okay, so here it makes sense. So they made NFP on Thursday. I got it. So NFP is usually on the first Friday of every month, but because Friday's the 4th of July and a holiday, they moved it to Thursday. So that's interesting. So this week really got cut short because we have today. Today's usually slow. Tuesday we get entries, but then Wednesday we have our holiday. Then Thursday we have NFP right away. Then Friday we have the US holiday. So considering everything, we're looking at a 3-day trading week. So that's definitely, I don't think we've ever had a 3-day trading week. So that's gonna be definitely something interesting. And I think this is the first time we've had, at least for us, where we've had Canada Day and the U.S. holiday taking up the majority of the business day, business week actually. So looking at the forecast, you can see again bullish, right? So unemployment rate is supposed to come down a tad bit. We're supposed to be adding a few more jobs. Unemployment claims, again, they're looking for a bit less than last week, but for some reason they can never forecast this. They're always wrong about this. If you look at the past forecasts, 4 out of 5 forecasts have been wrong. So I don't know, maybe they're just too conservative. But again, everything shows a bullish dollar. It is, 4th of July week coming up, and so maybe the dollar's gonna come in with some high hopes. So yeah, so we've had a bullish bias for the dollar and a bearish bias for the majors for a while now, but a lot of consolidation hasn't really given us those clean cut moves. The last clean cut move we had was here from Euro shorts, but for example, down here we're looking for shorts to go continuing down, but we've had some mixed data that pushed it back up. So I'm overall bullish on the dollar, bearish on the majors. We'll just have to find entries. Make sure we don't get stuck, because any of these forecasts can be wrong, right? They're just forecasts, that's all they are. But it all starts tomorrow. Tomorrow is the consumer confidence and Chicago PMI, which are all good indicators of what is to come, and then also Powell speaking. So tomorrow will give us a good insight about the dollar, but we'll have to be sure and not really jump the gun. But I think if the technicals tell us first if something's selling off or something is going long, then we'll know we'll be on the right side of the fundamentals, in my opinion. Perfect. So let's get to these pair recommendations. Euro yen. Yep. Let's take a look at some minors, because majors might just consolidate. So wherever euro dollar goes, euro yen will go. We already know that, but let's take a look. The daily. So you can see a huge pullback on the daily. Last Friday we discussed the potential to short. Obviously, since we've come up from this high, we started creating new higher lows and higher lows. I mean, lower highs and lower lows, right? So here's our lower high, lower low, lower high, and it was intuitive that we go down to make new lows for a short. Price has pulled back and it's kind of reacting to this level. If you look, extend over. It's kind of reacting to this, these highs on the 4-hour time frame at 121.260. Again, for euro, similar. If we do get a break of this intraday level, we can take the long. For euro dollar, looking to go to 1.13500. For this, we can target the same, type of distance to the upside to 1.22500. So roughly 130 pips we could have upside. Definitely counter trend trading, but we can at least target 30-40 pips, at least get this wick area, and then anything on top of that will be bonus. So I'll be looking at this level as well. The current 4-hour or the daily candle is a bullish engulfing, so you have to watch out for that. If you look at the 4-hour, so the 4 hour is currently reacting negatively to that level we just spoke of, that 121.260. You can see in the past, when we do break this level, we either go all the way up to here and then some, or we just kind of consolidate at this kind of intraday level, and then we go back down. So then there'll be a nice TP1 right there. So here will be our entry, TP1, and then TP2. Our TP1 will be around 60 pips. We'll obviously take maybe our first profit at 25 pips, like always, since we are counter trend trading. So that's one trade setup. You can obviously see that we've cleared the previous high that we made last week. So that is something to take note of. But we also have this other significant high as well. So we could very well come up here, match this high, and then go down short. So I highly recommend, if we do enter this trade, get those first 25 pips, secure some profit, and then see if price continues to move up to the upside. So EJ, I'm bullish for now. We'll see what happens. The day has just started, so I'm gonna put an alert. So 121.300 is my alert, and we'll see if it crosses up. and if we get that closure. And here's the mock idea. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right, something like this, 2.2, you know, decent stop loss. Again, the stop loss is 40-ish pips. We can make it a bit tighter if you want, if you really want it. That's fine as well. I'm more concerned about the entry and choosing a stop loss that makes sense rather than getting 2.0 or 2.5. But you know, this is the setup. So the first take profit is gonna be key because it's, again, we're going against the trend, so we have to be careful. But I think we could get something out of this trade. And for Mondays, usually even getting one trade that's a winner is fine because it can be pretty slow. Okay, so CAD yen. So CAD yen consolidation. Yeah, we discussed this idea on Thursday, on Friday. So Friday morning we discussed this idea about a potential short from this consolidation box. Now you can see, you know, if you look to the left, there's this kind of, you know, low we made. The last time we came from this level, we pushed down here, we made this low. We were looking for a 4-hour inverted hammer here to go short. And if you look, you know, none of these candles are really inverted hammers. This one technically is, but the wick to the bottom and the top are roughly the same. We usually like, you know, a huge wick to the top and a very short one to the bottom to confirm we're going lower. Even though we did get that, you know, we still got a decent move to the downside. You know, 20-ish pips to the downside. But again, this is a trade I wanted to call. It just wasn't ready. I don't think it was ready enough. And if you look, you can see the anatomy. Even since we got this for our closure, we had an inverted hammer again, and then a bullish hammer that wicked down here, then wicked back up. But this is on Friday morning at 9 a.m. and I don't trade Fridays for this reason, unless I'm trading the news, because Friday, Sunday can be very tricky days. A lot of manipulation goes on. So the best practice for CAD yen is just waiting for the consolidation zone to break. One way or the other. For longs, 72.26 is going to be the level we need to break. For shorts, we need to break 78.300. Okay, and it has to be a inverted hammer candle or just a bearish candle with no wicks. And the key part is the wicks of the candle. So the top wick has to be significantly longer than the bottom wick. So for example, this candle would have been perfect. Down here, you can see the top wick is twice as long as the bottom wick, which is fantastic. But we never got it below this support. So for CAD yen, I have a mixed bias. On the intraday, I'd say it's a long just because of this. Since we're in an intraday zone, we have a tendency to fill out the range, and so it does have kind of a duty to fill out this range, so it could go up there. Obviously, from an R2R perspective, it's not the best since it's already moved up halfway up there, so I wouldn't take this trade right now personally. But if you're a scalper, if you're into taking one-to-one or one-to-one risk-reward setups, then by all means you can. I haven't seen CAD yen this consolidated in quite some time, actually. You know, if you guys recall, at the start of the year, we've had some really nice clean moves. Right, we had these very nice moves back then from the shorts. We had a rally, and then since then we've slowed down. But even on the higher time, you can kind of see it's still short. If you look at last week's weekly candle, it was a nice inverted hammer. So I do think if you're a swing trader and you entered short on that candle, you should be fine. For example, you know, if I move the box, you can see last week's candle is an inverted hammer. So was the previous week. Now, if you entered just on those two candles, you know, as a swing trader, my stop loss will be above these recent highs, and my payoff will be down at these lows. And so as a swing trader, you'd be in some drawdown, but you'd be used to this. And we haven't really made any significant moves. We might just fill up the intraday range once more before we head lower. So I am bearish on CAD yen, long term speaking, but the intraday is pretty consolidated, so I'll say long. NZD, let's see. So NZD, I mean, you know, again, similar to CAD yen, it had some nice moves in the earlier parts of the year. You know, you can see nice uptrend within these nice intraday levels. Since then, we've had a huge rally, and then price has come back down. Again, New Zealand was opening up, so they had that optimism, but the second wave is a real possibility now for some places, and so this thing has come back down, and you know, these past few days, you know, hasn't done much, right? Since June 12th, so the past, I think, 18 days, it's just been stuck. You know, just, you know, two bullish candles, and we have four bearish, a bullish, then two bearish, a bullish, and a bearish. There's no real separation or trend within this kind of time period. There's no trend like we've had in the past, right? We've had either a downtrend, a rebound, an uptrend, a downtrend, a rebound, an uptrend, or just a clear uptrend. We haven't had any clear trend in this recent time period. So the 4-hour time frame, I mean, what can I tell you? I can see the support that we've created at 68,500, right? 68,500. We have a lot of wicks, a lot of rebounds from this level. Last time we were looking for shorts, we gapped down on a Sunday. We can just move this to the right and look for the same opportunity again. We're still making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So it's still technically a downtrend, at least the top portion. But price action is so disgusting, I wouldn't even take a trade, to be honest. I think UJ looks more promising. EJ looks more promising, but NZD yen, I don't want to give anything inaccurate, so nothing here. But if you look at USD yen, I was looking at it earlier, there may be a nice long for this trade. So you can see we've cleared the previous intraday resistance, and we're currently approaching some you know, some highs as well, some minor resistance. And if we do clear it, I think you know, we have UJ longs this week. So you can see this level right here, and again, the forecasts are bullish for the dollar. So you know, if those signs are correct, we could definitely meet these highs for sure. We can definitely meet these highs. So that's what I'm thinking, right? We have technically touched this resistance at 107.920. Now, if we just break it on the 4-hour, I will be taking the long, and I'll be calling the long. The upside is going to be fantastic, and the stop loss will be very tight. Right, so our stop loss will be in between this line and this line, and you can see we have a 4.0 R2 setup, and that's what I have. So I'm bullish on the dollar this week. I think the USD will take advantage of the optimism, and it will be a pretty good week for the dollar overall. So that's one of the long setups we have. I think maybe by tomorrow latest we'll get an entry. Hoping, you know, Powell's comments are bullish, and also the PMI and consumer confidence are also bullish, and then we'll get an entry, I think, at 11 a.m. right? So we have these two events, 9:45 a.m., 10 a.m. We have our live session, and then Powell speaks right after. So we can get entry. If Powell's bullish, we can also get some momentum and get in profit really quickly. We might go with the reduced position size because it is during a news event, but it's not a news-based trade at all, and the stop loss here is 40 pips. So if we go with the 50% position, it will only be a 20 pip stop loss. You can even just go with 70% of a regular position. I'll decide tomorrow when it comes, but that's a nice promising setup as well for UJ long. And I'll put an alert. So my alert will be at 107.9. Let's put it at 108. A nice psychological level. So 108.000 crossing up is my alert. Let's see if we can get that. Alright, so what's next? Aussie dollar, perfect. Jay Haley, hope you guys are well. So last week we were waiting for Aussie shorts. I mean, we've waited. This is you know, we spent a few days just waiting here. No bearish closure below, but you can see a lot of these wicks have went even lower. So if I remove this, you can see that some of these candles have actually gone all the way down here as well. And if I just extend that down, you'll see that the best course of action is, yeah, wait for this level to break, but because it's Aussie dollar, you know, the downside is only 40 pips, right? To the next key levels. If we wait for this level to break and we spend so much time waiting for it to break, the most we're gonna get is 40 pips until we get some reaction here, right? So I think the best thing for us to do is take the most promising route of action is waiting for this level to get broken. This is a 0.68 thousand psychological level, because then we have huge downside potential. We have the Corona lows that we can target. Okay, and during the Corona, the dollar was a preferred safe haven. If you guys recall, NZD, Aussie dollar, Euro, they're all melting, right? You recall this was the sell-off we had in February going into March, all the way down here, right? That was the dollar's dominant. So if you look at the uptrend, it has died, right? We've had previous rallies to go higher, no success. So if we do clear this 0.68 thousand level, we will have a huge sell-off, right? I'm not too interested in the 40 pips. That could or could not happen. The R2R is not great, but this option is more promising. And again, it's a swing setup, and yet last week we talked about adjusting our strategy from moving from intraday moves to swing trades because of the just all the fundamental events at hand. A lot of the markets are choppy. We're not used to clean moves. We're not getting the same clean moves, but this swing trade, 3.45, you go with the reduced position size, you have half the risk, almost triple the amount of profits we usually make, and this is what we have. So I think that's the way we're gonna go. We'll see it for this week. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we'll stick to getting high accuracy, 25-30 pip intraday moves, and just keep it at that. So Aussie dollar, I'm bearish. Wait for 0.68 thousand to get cleared on the 4-hour time frame. Even though on the daily, the 4-hour closure is important. I think the daily will just kind of show you the trade in its entirety. So my alert will be 0.67900, so just 10 pips below, and then crossing down. Alright, let me get some people on YouTube. Don't want to leave them hanging. I think a few of the people that that watch on YouTube have joined the Discord, so that's fantastic. Hey everyone, morning Jessica, morning King. What's the entry point? I don't think I've given an entry point for anything yet. The only potential setups we have is pound dollar, right? And that's a break of 1.22600. So if you break 1.22600, anywhere there is an entry point. The other one is euro yen. We're looking for alarms. If we get a break above 121.260, then we have USD yen. A break above 108.100 is a entry point. And then this trade we just analyzed, 0.68 thousand, anything below is an entry point. So someone asked the EuroCAD and USD CAD, perfect. So look at your EuroCAD. So similar to CAD yen, it's been consolidated, right? You can see the consolidation zone that we're in. Since April 20th. Since April 20th, April 6th actually, April 6th, we've been stuck in this box. 97% of the price action since April has been contained in this box. And that's not even an exaggeration. 96% of the price action since April has been in this box. That is consolidation. That is consolidation. Now, that usually gives you a trade opportunity if you get clean breaks on either end, like on the bottom or the top. I'll actually adjust this bottom level to respect the recent wicks we've created. So you can see this is the, we have a lot of wicks here, long wicks and rallies, long wicks and rallies from this bottom level, and similar to the top side. So you can see that's our price action zone. Based on where we're at right now, I do think shorts will be the good option since we're at the top of the zone. I would ideally want price to make an honest effort to go to this level, this 1.54500. I think that's a clean level. So adjust it 1.54500. Right, I want price to go there and give an honest effort to break it. For example here, and they give us a rejection, and then we'll have a nice short. So I think that's the trade we'll have for Euro CAD. It's not a bad trade. We took a similar trade for this for Aussie CAD last week, and it was a pretty nice trade as well. So you can see we haven't touched any of that resistance just yet. We're on our way. So I think once we get there, just look at price action. Just let it follow these arrows. So we go there, we touch it, then we reject it, right? We get the rejection, and then we get that short, right? Boom, right? And that'll be the first level we target. The bare minimum, that'll be the first level. Anything more will be great too, but definitely that first. And that first target is at 1.52 thousand. It's 50 pips away, so it's a nice intraday. It's a nice intraday level, at least for Euro CAD. Okay, so that's about 125 pips away. That's a lot for an intraday, but again, if you look at the denomination, this is at 1.5, right? If you look at Aussie dollar, it's at 0.68, so it's almost 3 times the denomination. So 60 pips on Aussie dollar is going to be 180 pips for Euro CAD. So that's what I have. And then with this type of setup, your stop loss will be very, very tight. Now it would be tight, but just because of this recent wick, I do want to keep it a bit exaggerated, just in case price wants to stop us out, chase our stop loss. I'll keep that in mind. But you can see the payoff for the intraday is around 3.0 R2R, and the entire range considered, it will be around 4.0, 4.75. So that's the potential setup we have. And again, after 25 pips, I do want you guys to secure some profit or all, depending on your trading style, and move stop loss to break even. So that's Euro CAD, and let's look at USD CAD. So I think USD CAD has a long setup as well, similar to UJ, and yes, it does. So let me remove all these drawings. I'll do a quick intraday analysis. Not really going to go into the higher time frames, but intraday, all we have to do is draw a few key levels. The one is right here, this kind of support from the top side. The other one is this resistance right here. You can see right here, perfect. And then finally, we'll identify this recent low in case we do have shorts, so like that, right? So here we have the levels that we're concerned about. Here we have the recent low we made. Here we have the next support or key level, and then here we have the resistance. So if you're looking to go long, we would probably want to actually take this level out. But you can see we've actually broken last week's highs. So if you identify last week's high, you can see it's right here, and we've actually printed our favorite candle to go long, right? Our bullish hammer, right? Very long way to the bottom, short way to the top. This is a nice candle to go long on. And you know what? I might call a long entry for this, guys, just to get us this first target. Anything more is great. Something like this. Let's listen to the entire trade. Again, we're bullish on the dollar, so I am expecting huge upside if we get the fundamentals in our favor. But this is a 4.55 R2R setup. Okay. Now, if we go for that intraday level I just spoke of, it's around 1.34. I can actually adjust the stop loss a bit, and 1.91 is fine. So our stop loss is just below the previous two lows, right here and right here. And this is not a bad setup. So the stop loss will be 80 pips, and the upside will be around 150. So that could be the first setup of the day if the 4-hour candle stays as is. If anything, I'll get us to enter with a reduced position since we have USD news tomorrow. And if worst comes to worst, we have to hold this trade in the news. We're not too exposed in terms of risk. So this is an upside potential trade. It is counter trend. So if you recall last week, I talked about counter trend trading, how it could be a bit risky because you never know when the retracement will end and start. So we could go up to here, make a new lower high, and then go back to make a new lower low, right? So it's always a bit risky. So I'm thinking that's why our upside target is very conservative. But we'll see. We have around an hour and 20 for the next 4-hour candle to close, and a lot can happen in that time. So Again, it's pending. Don't enter now. I'll let you guys know. I'll use my own intuition in calling this trade. Thank you for calling it. Definitely looks like a real possibility. Alright, so we have CAD, Yen, we just spoke of, gold and oil. So a big day for the dollar. A big week for the dollar means a big week for gold for sure, and oil. So we have gold. So last time around, we wanted to go long, right? We wanted to break above 1765, and the 4-hour closure was nice. So whoever got it got around 50 pips, I believe. We were already in a different trade, so I never called the trade. But remember, we adjusted our entry to 1775 to go long. Now, if we look at the 4-hour, you'll see that last week. Last week we actually wicked up all the way up to 1779, just short of 1780. But I think this week, if we do get a 4-hour close above this level, we will have that long to 1800. Again, that's 1800s, our 2020 long-term goal. We made this projection back in December 2019, and when we made this projection, gold was at 1500. It's almost at 1800, so that's pretty nice to see. I do think a bullish dollar will bring this back down, however. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with gold. Obviously, it tends to react more violently to USD news than other pairs, but this is a commodity, this is a precious metal, so it definitely has a lot more weight riding to it. It is gold versus the US dollar, so if we have a bullish dollar, we could have gold come back to this wick area at 1750, 1748. So just be cautious of that. If we do break above, I'd be a bit reluctant to go long because of the bullish forecast for the dollar. So if you're looking for an intraday setup, I would wait for us to clear 1765. If we clear 1765 on the daily or 4-hour and it's a bearish closure, inverted hammer, etc., we can take the short back down to 1750. 150 pip downside move could be a possibility. So I'll put an alert just below 1764. Crossing down. Okay. US oil, let's take a look. So this is looking like it's going to be a long. Now I don't know for how long. You can see we're approaching the last week's highs we made over here. I mean, if we do clear it, then yeah, we could have a long as well. You can see kind of aligns with the previous resistance, so I would be cautious about shorting it, you know, just because it's going to be coming up to this level. It is a resistance, but I think it is a resistance I could easily break. It has a lot of momentum this morning. You know, usually oil tends to have its own mind because of OPEC, Russia, Saudi Arabia stuff going on as well. But if we do clear 39.24, there is a possibility to long, right? Back to this $40.24 per barrel, and something like this, you know. Again, we have a lot of longs for the dollar, so I would be cautious about this. Again, this is oil versus the US dollar, so any bullish news for the dollar will drop this. So we are definitely counter trend trading here, but for oil, I think the long is the setup anyways. We just need the 4-hour bullish closure above 39.24, and we are good to go. So see why we have a duty, a tendency to break this level and then go to this level at the bare minimum. So that's going to be the target. So, and even if we don't go all the way up there, we at least go up 150 points. That's still pretty good. So US oil. So we have a lot of setups pending. We have USD CAD almost ready. So we are in a good shape for this week. This really reduced week. Aussie CAD. Okay, Aussie CAD. Let's see what that consolidated pair is doing this morning. Yeah, so here's the box. Here's the initial short we took last week. A nice 24-30 pips, I believe. You know, I mean, I'd say short too. You know, just a lot of wicks in both directions this week. Alas, the past few times we never had that. We just like clean moves down or up. So I'd be careful about shorts. But if you're a scalper, you can see the daily is just very consolidated since the start of June actually. So shorts will be the best bet for this. Maybe wait for this intraday level to break. 0.93600, right? 0.93600. You get a break maybe on the 1 hour time frame. You can take the short. I just be careful. This is around 60 pips up for grabs. It's not bad at all. From this line all the way down to here, so it could be a possibility. Shoot, I might even call it for us, but I'll be careful not to get us in too many trades. Again, we have a lot of news coming up this weekend. I don't want to over risk us, but here's the 2.68. Our stop loss is in between this line and this line, and then there you have it. So we need to break 0.93600 for this trade, otherwise we will not take it. So my alert is at 0.93550, crossing down, and then it's on the 4 hour time frame, but you can wait for the 1 hour closure as well. I just like the 4 hour because it's not too noisy, but the 1 hour or the 4 hour closure, any bearish closure on those time frames is fine. Oh, stay on page. What's next? So USDs are okay. Let's see. It might reach heaven. You think it's gonna go the upside? So USD Rand. Last time we talked about this, we spoke about it a long. You can see 1795 we go long, daily bullish closure. This is a daily time frame. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 days. It hasn't done much, right? No real trend here. Is just consolidated. You can see in the past we've had either trend up, intraday trend down, intraday trend up, and then we had a sell-off. Since then, it's pulled back and spent 8 days just relaxing. So it is relaxing, but it is moving down. You can kind of see it's rolling over. So instead of the long we discussed, we could have a short, and the only way we'll take a short is, and it has made us very easy to do this actually, is if we get a daily closure. Actually, I think let's see how the 4 hour behaves for this pair. Yeah, daily. We need a daily bearish closure below the last support we created at 17.12. Nice clean level, 17.12. If you get a daily bearish closure like this inverted hammer right here, if we got it down here, that would have been fantastic for shorts. I'm only saying this because we're trending down. You can even draw a trend line, and you'll see that we are making some lower lows on a smaller time frame. So that's definitely, you can see right there. So I would wait for 1712 to break daily time frame, take the short, and this is the idea we'll have. Right, here's our and here actually I'll adjust it. Here's our first target where these, where we have these wicks, right? First target right here. The next target will be right here. We have a wick here and a wick to the upside, and then finally the recent low we made, and there we have our trade entry. So here's our entry, TP1, TP2, and then TP3. 2.55. To be honest, the risk to reward and the stop loss could be a bit tighter. So we have a 3.94 short bias for now. If we do clear at 1795, like previously discussed, then we have the longs. But for now, we need to break 1712, and my alert will be at 1711 500. Okay, so 1711 500 crossing down, and that's our exotic analysis. So Euro CAD, you think it's going to go to the heaven. Pound dollar will also flow. Do you think it'll go short? Euro CAD, let's see. Euro CAD. I mean, it could. I mean, if it breaks this level, for sure, the top side is huge, right? You have these highs up here. But I think the intraday resistance, you need to clear it first or reject it. Pound dollar. Yeah, I think it'll melt too. You can see the daily. You can see we have this huge push down that we still have to do, right? Depending on if price can close below 1.22600. So definitely a huge week for the dollar, but it's only technically a 3-day trading week, so we'll have to be careful. Okay, let me see if there's anyone on YouTube that has one pair recommendation. We're coming up at 1 hour. Don't want to bore people, but so USD CAD, I am thinking long. Euro CAD, I'm also thinking short on the intraday at least. And yeah, so I think everyone's pairs out of the way. If there's any other questions, just shoot them on Discord. Again, if you're on YouTube, you can join our Discord. The link is in the description. It's free. Now, our free sessions are on Monday and Friday. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when I work with the members to get entry into these trades we discussed and do, live signals, live analysis, etc., etc. If you want to join those live sessions and then get access to our 10 signal providers, right? We have 10 signal providers. So you want to get access to my live sessions, 10 signal providers, and get analysis throughout the day, right? All you have to do is sign up for our Forex trading room. Now we have a 50% off coupon code, which will get you your first month for 50% off. All you have to do is use this coupon code, first50. You have to go to our website, so we go to forexlens.com, and then you wait for all this. You wait for this to close, and you go to the Forex trading room, click get started. You're going to fill out this form, and you click next, and you'll see enter a coupon code. If you enter first 50, you will get all my live sessions, 10 signal providers, all my chart work from Elliott Wave Analysis, Genius, Ben, all our other providers for only $48.50. So you see Elliott Wave Analysis here, you see some institutional concepts here, you see price action here. So you can get all of this for $48.50 for your first month. All you have to do is use coupon code FIRST50. Okay, so I'll see you guys and hopefully some new faces in tomorrow's live session. If you're a free member and you're still on the fence, you can either watch last Friday's session or this upcoming Friday session to get a good idea of how we do and what we do things. A reminder, Wednesday is Canada Day, so there will be no session. There's also 4th of July on Friday, so take note of that. Also in your trading, it's going to be a highly volatile, quick week. It'll be very sharp, and depending on how we do, it could be sharp and joyful or sharp and painful, but I think we'll do fine this week. So all these pending setups will be sent on Discord as always. If you have any questions, send them there as well. But that'll be that. So happy Monday, guys. Let's have a great trading week. Please be safe and peace.